What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Got some Relinquished duels for you guys to check out, and these are actually pretty damn impressive, especially considering a couple of these are going to be against meta decks. So not everything's just going to be table 500. You're thinking, oh Cap, he didn't play against anybody good. I'm talking about real legitimate meta decks that people are playing right now. What I feel about Relinquish is, I feel like it's a pretty solid deck, not like super high tier or anything like that. I feel like everybody's just still trying to figure out what the best build of it is. If it's, running a bunch of kaijus, or what other attack, if you're going to play, maybe it an invoked and stuff like that, because there's a lot of engines that you can mix in with the deck. But I never actually thought about Shaddolls, which actually make a lot of sense. They're spellcaster, just like most of the Relinquished support, and then in addition to that, a lot of this stuff is like dark, and you can use Relinquish from your deck. You can send it with Shaddoll Fusion to basically, put it in the graveyard, summon Winda, and that opens up your Millennium Eyes restrict plays, just making it a lot easier. So these are going to be some interesting duels, and let's see if we can turn some heads with them. So I believe this first one is against Blue Eyes. He's going to go straight into Winda. Now, he did send that beast to the graveyard to draw a card, and he sends a copy of Millennium Eyes Illusionist to the grave as well. If you don't know what the card does, anytime a Relinquish or Eyes Restrict monster is summoned, you get to add it back from your graveyard to your hand, and it basically is kind of like a mind control-ish type card. Well, it lets you equip one of your opponent's monsters by discarding it during your opponent's turn or your turn. So it's a quick effect, and it basically just like gives your Thousand Eyes a way to, suck something up or your Relinquish. So he goes into Needlefire, but that's going to get popped. Now this is a really smart play. He goes into Link Karibo to get his White Stone off the field to get another big dragon. Very smart. This way he can stop an attack. He is going to go into Winda again. This time he did send Relinquish to the grave, I believe. No, actually, I think he just sent two Shaddolls. I think he sent Beast, and I think he sent Hedgehog. This is a really, really spicy combo. I love it. I still think Fairy Tail Luna is such an underrated card. He's going to go ahead and he summons Jizukiru, says, okay, get your big-ass dragon off the board, and then he summons Fairy Tail Luna, who is going to not only get a Surge, but then she's going to chain her ability to bounce, which means she is not on the field anymore for Ghost Ogre to destroy. So he basically gets to, he gets his cake and he gets to eat it too. So that's really nice. Link Karibo is going to launch itself to make Winda temporarily 0 attack, but look at all the advantages, guys. There's like 6 cards in his hand, and he still has a Winda on board that is stopping his opponent from special summoning. Now his opponent is kind of like stunned here because he knows if I go into my extra deck, this guy gets Shaddoll Fusion, he's gonna make another Winda, and I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. He has a Kaiju too, so honestly I don't know what Blue Eyes does to play around this, knowing your opponent has a Shaddoll Fusion and a Kaiju. So he is going to get Kaiju, and unfortunately Shaddoll Fusion is going to bring out the Winda. He knows he has Fairy Tail Snow, so he can just Kaiju him pretty much infinitely. He's going to use that Fairy Tail Snow, he's going to bounce that Kaiju. Is he going to Kaiju again? Oh no. Here's what he does. He activates Relinquished Fusion to summon the Millennium Eyes Restrict. That gives him the Illusionist back to his hand. Then he's going to Kaiju, and then he's going to just go ahead. He's going to banish his Relinquished Fusion. He's going to take that Kaiju, and he's not done here. As soon as his opponent does anything, like summons a monster, he's going to go ahead and activate that Illusionist. Now, he does try to target his alternative dragon, but he ends up taking it. So it's 6,300 attack. And then when he summons his alternative dragon on the field, which by the way cannot activate its effect because he has taken his alternative dragon. So monsters on the field that share the name with a card that's equipped to Millennium Eyes Restrict cannot activate their effects. He ends up discarding the Illusionist, and he was basically just going to equip this monster straight on his Millennium Eyes Restrict, which would have made it over 9,000. It would have made him 9,300 attack. So that was a pretty dominating duel. But some of you guys are like, oh come on Kappa, it's against Brick Eyes, that deck ain't even good. Okay, how about Mek-Invoked? Can we all agree Mek-Invoked is a pretty good deck, top 3 deck in the game, just like Cap G predicted. Mek-Knights are the next Zodiac confirmed. Let's see. Now look who bricked here. Mek-Knights, by the way, Mek-Knights going first, by the way. They're just, Mek-Knights going first. Look at this. The epitome of bricks and can't do anything. So he's going to go ahead and go Darling Scorpio, Orthos Cobra. Wait, did I get that wrong? Darling Cobra, Orthos Scorpio? I think I got that wrong. Now he does go into a Link monster. He goes into the Aromage Jasmine, the Link one. And I didn't expect that, but he's going to get Kaiju this time, getting a taste of his own medicine. His opponent is going to summon the Purple Disc, and then Blue Sky gets a bunch of searches. Now I was kind of getting scared here because when he mind controls the Kaiju and then plays Pot of Desires, I was like, bruh, he got Regeki in his hand. Like, he might actually just OTK you. So you got to be careful here because he's getting 2 more cards, and he has an Alistair on top of that. I actually thought that he was going to fusion summon using the game so that can attack and then play Regeki, and I was like, I don't know, man, that's kind of close to the OTK, but he goes into Skull Dread. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I don't agree with that Skull Dread play at all. I mean, he gets Merkaba on the field, but I feel like he just gave up too much. Now, his opponent does have an empty board, and he does get to keep his Regeki, but I feel like, I don't know, I just would have went for damage. I feel like there was a possibility of getting an OTK there, even if I didn't see it. His invoked Merkaba is going to get Kaiju, so Kaiju War going on. He then is going to summon Winda. Winda is going to be linked here so he can keep his extra monster zone open. He's pulling off those same shenanigans that he did, and just another opponent falls into the Ghost Ogre, but this time his opponent has Effect Veiler, but it's all good because he's going to go Millennium Eyes Restrict in response to that. He's probably going to banish it from his graveyard so that he can equip the monster. Yes, he does. And then he's going to just snatch steal both of them. And oh my, how the tables have turned. Can he close the duel out? Because his opponent has that Regeki that he doesn't know about. Pretty sure he's going to get Regeki'd here and lose everything. And his opponent does have another Lavender Dusk. I call it Purple Disc, whatever. He's going to get Regeki'd, but I think that he forgot that Winda doesn't get destroyed. And I think he lost his will to live there. Because if you look at his hand, and by the way, he messed up by trying to activate the purple disc because his opponent just took his other one on the field with the copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I don't know if he actually has like any legitimate plays going on from here, because like he can Kaiju, but then he can't attack over it, and they can't really attack because they have the same attack value. So next turn his opponent probably would have just dropped what's it called, a copy of Relinquished, and then he would have been able to get back the Illusionist from his graveyard, and he might have been able to just end out the door, close out the door right there. Final duel is against True Draco. Probably the best of the three decks. I'm sorry, I want to swap this here. And True Draco, I don't think this guy misplayed at all. I believe he's actually going to drop Masterpiece turn 1 that looks like it's unaffected by, is it spell cards? Okay, spell and trap cards. So that's a pretty good one. But man, there's a Kaiju for that. Kaiju's and Relinquish is actually just too good. Because you Kaiju them and then you just do this. You summon Relinquish and you just suck up the Kaijus, and then your opponent just gets wombo comboed and gets, you know, wrecked by their own, they get wrecked by their own ambition of summoning a very powerful monster. But he says, that's fine, Cap. Masterpiece Part 2, the sequel. Those Amanos are not looking good. He drew a double Amano, so I don't know about that. That's kind of a Kappa play. He's going to go ahead and activate. Is that Heritage? No, that's Draco Phoenix. So he gets a draw. He has to discard this during the end phase. He drew another copy of Card of Demise, even though he had used Card of Demise early in the turn. That's not so good. Now, this Masterpiece is immune to monsters and it's immune to traps, but it is not immune to that Kaiju Slumber. And I don't have a good feeling about this, man. Pretty sure he's going to get slumbered and he might scoop. I don't know if he's tilted or what, but he targets Winda with the True Draco Masterpiece effect. And I don't know, maybe he didn't realize it can't die. So I think that we're getting close to scoop mode here, as he's going to summon Relinquish and his opponent's like, all right, no mas. Once again, he falls victim to getting Kaiju'd and then having the Relinquish be summoned and sucking up the Kaiju. That would have been a 2800 attack Relinquish. That also would have been a 3300 attack to the face. And that is GG no re, even against True Draco. Obviously, that Card of Demise and the Draco Phoenix weren't doing anything. Yeah, he probably would have been able to recover and maybe out advantage the guy like during his next turn. But like Kaito said in Arc V, there is no next turn. Let me go ahead and pause really quickly and show you guys the deck. This is what the deck looks like on paper, and I actually like this build because I think it's so tailor-made to do what Relinquished does well, and that's go second. Most ritual decks historically have wanted to go second. The one exception would probably be like Necroz, because they had like the gen lock and it could be auto win. Your opponent only had a couple of outs to that. But if you think about like Demise and other ritual decks, like they generally want to go second because they need the extra card. Relinquish especially because you want your opponent to have monsters on the board for you to basically suck up, and summoning a Relinquish turn 1 going first doesn't really do anything. In addition to that, like he obviously has Kaijus, which are just standard in Relinquish because it allows you to get one of your opponents like big boss monsters, Buster Dragon, you know, Masterpiece. We saw that in the duel, Invoked Merkaba. It allows you to get that monster off the board, and then it allows you to have something really big to actually suck up. And then when you run Kaijus, you also get a board wipe and Interrupted Slumber. Now, I thought the Fairy Tail Luna was a nice touch, and not only is it just a really good +1 summon that basically pays for itself if you do want a ritual summon with it, or if you want to use it with Relinquished Fusion. It's like, it's no big deal if this card gets banished. You're going to search another copy as soon as it's summoned, but then it has obviously crazy synergy with the Kaijus. Another reason why I like this deck And the build is that Shaddolls are another archetype that kind of benefit going second, because Shaddoll Fusion is obviously a way to punish your opponent when they go into their extra deck. So just getting a window on board, it's not like the biggest, it's not nearly as powerful as it used to be, but at the same time, it's not even just about getting the window on board. It can be about getting the dragon from your deck to the graveyard to pop one of their back rows for free, and at the same time getting a draw. And it's like, all right, so basically I just want like +2 and got a window, and I can still kaiju them and, kind of go from there with like a fairy tale bounce. So definitely looking pretty good. There are no traps because like Relinquished doesn't really run any traps, but you see the normal summons in this deck are pretty much just fairy tale Luna, no Kinkaboyu or anything like that. So I'm really thinking that I'm probably going to do a Relinquished profile. Actually, probably not one Relinquished profile, probably a couple of them, because you can see there are just multiple variants. You can run the level 1 deck with Kinkaboyu and like the rank ups, the kind of Utopia build that I showed earlier, or like, a couple weeks ago, or you can run like a Shaddoll variant where everything's kind of dark. You want to go second, you want to punish your opponent from the extra deck with the Shaddoll fusions and whatnot. So not only is Relinquished fun, but there are obviously a multitude of variants that you can play.